So, what does Flash put on his burgers?
Oh, geez. I don't know.
You'll never be able to catch up. Hey, diddle diddle, a cat and a fiddle. You have found the best DC Comics show on YouTube. It's Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Thank you so much for joining us on behalf of Tim the Comic Collector, who's not interested in hanging out with us anymore. I welcome you to the show, along with Comic Food 2814. Hello to you.
Hello.
And Signature King, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good. Did everyone have a good week? Anything exciting, eventful happen, or anything that you want to discuss before we get into the news portion?
It wasn't long enough.
I hear you on that.
I had ordered one of those Hal Jordan Funko Pops from Target Con, the Red Lantern one.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. It got sent to me. I opened it up. They sent me King Kong.
Target Con, what's that? Where's that at?
Yeah, from what planet is what Green Lantern planet is he from? What sector?
Who? King Kong?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so I had to send it back, and hopefully they should be replacing it.
I think King Kong would make a great Red Lantern if I had to pick.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Other than that, nothing.
That's it for me.
Yeah. Food, how many of the, because you never really answered my question in the private chat, but how many of the blank sketch cover Green Lanterns did you buy?
Blank sketch
Don't
cover.
you remember that picture I sent earlier this week in the private chat for the Green Lantern facsimile that came out this past week? And I showed the blank sketch cover because it looked pretty neat. I mean, your imagination, you could put King Kong all over that thing.
I could. Yeah, no, I haven't been to my LCS yet, but I'm sure it's waiting for me.
Yeah, are you going to get more than one?
No.
Will you draw on it?
No.
No. Okay.
Do you collect sketch covers? Is that something that piques your interest?
Not generally.
So they have regular foil and sketch cover. Are you just going to get regular for the facsimile?
I tell them to get me every variant.
Oh, so you get one of each.
Yeah,
okay.
Should. Yeah.
Which facsimile is that? Is that the?
It's the first John Stewart.
John Stewart.
Is that 86?
I think 86 or 87, something like that.
I can't remember. Yeah.
So I saw it. I was planning on getting it, and I couldn't decide which one because I was only going to get one. I couldn't decide which one I was going to get, and I ended up not buying it at all. So.
Do you have the original?
I don't. I wish I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You, Tony?
Nice no. It's on the it's high on the list to look out for. I've had it in my hands, and the price didn't necessarily justify the grade, in my opinion. But
is it higher or lower than Swamp Thing 37?
Lower. It's lower than Swamp Thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to pull the trigger on a Swamp Thing soon. Though it's just gonna keep going forever.
Yeah, it's gonna be too far gone. Yeah. Well,
I actually got my copies of both of those books at a con. I went specifically looking for them.
At the same con on the same time or different?
No,
cons?
different cons. No.
I feel like cons have better prices for books. I don't know why.
Sometimes.
I would say not necessarily the bigger ones. Not like MegaCon or
sure.
Not that or C2E2, but like a comic show or something. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. My experience is going on like the last day where they just want to unload, so they don't want to take anything back. Yeah. You can make some deals on the last day.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool. I'll say hello to some of the great folks that are joining us in the live chat. Paul S. is here to kick us off. We're doing well, and we hope that you are also. And Super Russ 9000, how you doing there, my friend? Thanks for stopping in to see us too. If you're watching us on the rewind, we do appreciate your time as well to spend with us. So, news-wise, I think we all have some news to talk about. Who wants to start?
Well, I think the biggest news of the week is probably Ramona Fraden has passed
Yeah.
away, right?
She passed away yesterday afternoon. So Ramona
Yeah.
Fraden, legendary comic book artist. I mean,
Weren't you
broke
just
down.
talking about her like just the other week? I feel like
We're talking. She
with
just retired.
Metamorpho, right?
Yeah, exactly. She just retired, 97 years old. She had
Wow.
just retired. But check this out. Talk about working to the end. She has a cover coming out in DC Comics next month.
Oh wow.
Oh, jeez.
She has the Women's History Month variant cover for Wonder Woman #7 coming out next month.
Wow.
And she's the co-creator of Metamorpho.
Yeah, she certainly is. She's known for Aquaman. She's known for Super Friends.
Sure would like to
That's
pick
right.
her brain.
Mention that.
Yeah, just for her DC work. Plus, I mean, she's known for other stuff like the Brenda Starr comic strip that she did for years upon years. So there wasn't a lot of pioneering women in the comic book industry, but she certainly was one of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jurassic League is getting an animated movie.
Oh god.
Really?
It's what if the Justice League were dinosaurs?
Because we've all wondered that.
Yeah. I mean, the story was pretty unique.
It's creative.
It was very creative, but like I don't know how many people are like, this needs to be a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you're a huge fan of that, good news for you. Switching to Superman, there's a lot of Superman news. Superman Legacy confirmed they will be filming in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yep.
For some reason, I don't know why.
And we've also got the announcement that Otis is going to be making a return.
Oh,
yeah, isn't that great?
And Lex Luthor's girlfriend,
Miss Tessmacher?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. So both of them from the original Superman movies are making a return. These are Luthor's henchmen. So that should be fun.
Bobby. Okay.
Hey, Bobby. How you doing, Bobby?
They were showing pictures of like the table read and everything, which is pretty cool. And the young lady playing Hawkgirl, and I can never pronounce her name. She said her Hawkgirl costume is like better than Hawkman's in Black Adam in terms of there's a lot of practical effects, I imagine. So that'll be pretty cool.
And Black Adam is like not part of the universe now, right?
No, it was supposed to be Snyderverse.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't real clear what it was.
Well, they had Henry Cavill at the end. I mean, that kind of sums it up.
I guess they did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's okay. That's all right. There was another big one here.
While you're looking, I'll tell you, I got a few stories about stuff that we all could buy if we have enough money. Because there's some stuff coming up for auction. I mean, all of us wanted Action Comics #1, correct?
Sure.
Action Comics #1 Unrestored 8.5 is coming up for auction. In Heritage Auction, this is going to be their April 4th through the 7th auction. It's a pedigree collection. It's a Kansas City pedigree collection. And it is there's only 2 unrestored Action Comics rated higher than that on the census.
Really? There's an Action Comics 1 higher than an 8.0?
No, 8.5. Higher
than 8.5?
Yeah,
Dang.
there is. Unrestored.
I did not know that.
And there's some that are restored that are higher, but this is an unrestored copy.
Wow.
Can you imagine what that's going to go for?
It's going to be millions.
I know.
There was
and like, whose collection does that come from? Is it like somebody's just held on to this?
You're right. Who looks at that, picks up that book and says, you know what? Time to sell this bad boy.
Yeah.
So there's what it looks like.
Oof.
Wow.
My gosh.
Save your pennies now, boys and girls.
Yeah, I mean, if we pool our resources, I think the three of us could go in on it together.
We could get the label.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could get like. Remember, they sold like a piece of the cover.
Yeah, the little #1.
Yeah, it went for like $7,000. It was just this. if we all mortgage our properties twice,
Yeah, Bag of Sevens knows what's going on.
we could get the staples and the label.
Who's kidding
Yeah.
who, guys? We couldn't pull this off ourselves. We'd need Tim, but he has abandoned us. So
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
this is
The,
Tim's fault.
The fourth spot down here gets lonelier every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I'll keep going here because there's some more stuff we can buy. There's some more stuff we can buy. I know we have some Watchmen fans in the DC universe. Well, Neil Gaiman was gifted a page of original art from Watchmen, along with the original color guide. It's for Watchmen number 7, page 16, and it's got like a ton of panels on this page. And I'll show that in a second. That's coming up for auction on Heritage as well. So take a look at that. Look at all those panels.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
And then, like I said, you get
Such
the
a great
matching
book.
color guide to go with it too.
Well, I remember that what this page was from. It's just like that was weird.
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman's a creative individual.
Yeah. And while we're at it and talking about stuff that we can buy, stuff we might want, see, there's kind of something for each one of us tonight. You know, I could have the action number 1. One of you could have the original art, and then whoever's left can have this.
What
Is that a penguin submarine?
That is a penguin.
Is that from the Batman show or something?
It's from the Batman movie from 1966.
Oh my god!
It's a miniature submarine prop that was used on camera. Apparently, it's not the only one. There were several different ones that were used, but this is one of those, and it will be up for Heritage auction as well.
I'll take the Watchmen art, Tony. You can have the penguin.
No,
sub.
this is all you, buddy. I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna take the art. I mean, you know, I don't want to get in the way between you and your penguin submarine.
I love that no one's fighting me for Action 1.
Right.
You already claimed it.
Yeah,
and you're wearing the
it.
Superman shirt. So
Yeah, I'm wearing the Superman shirt tonight.
Yeah.
That's why I get it. So
yeah, right.
Super Russ is going to pitch in and help us. We're already at $37.
Always there for us.
Yeah,
we're close. So, hey, Kenneth Bird has joined us as well. Great to have you here. Paul, I am doing a lot better. I sound worse, but I should not hack through my story tonight. Fingers crossed. I am actually drinking a little bit of Coca-Cola. The first one, I didn't have any soda at all last year. And this is the first time I've had a soda since 2022. And just to make sure I'm coating the stomach and I'm going to be okay. So, yeah. And he had a question for you, Fu.
Oh, not for the moment. My channel's it's out of commission for the moment.
Yeah, it's getting a makeover.
So funny thing about that, I like to look at the numbers and the stats for everybody's channels that he was part of our community, and I like to just get down to the details and who's doing what. And I looked at yours, and it's it gives you current subscribers, and then for the next 5 years, it'll give you a prediction based off your algorithm,
mine go down
where you're going to be at. And it said in 5 years you're going to be at the exact same amount of subscribers that you are now.
Me?
Apparently, no, Fu. He's
got 14,000.
He's apparently not going to go up or down. He's going to maintain.
He's got 14,000
for the next 5 years. Not a single one.
5 years. He's not going to have 13,999. He's not going to have 14,001.
Lasso and I are so close. We're projected to hit 1,000 subscribers within like 2 or 3 days of each other.
We could have like a dual party if that happens.
We could.
But right now, I mean, I will just say that you and Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe have smoked me subscriber wise.
You're ahead of me. What are you talking about? You're ahead.
1 or 2?
1.
How many did I used to be ahead of you by?
Like
hundreds?
25? Well, my room tour video exploded. I got like 17 subs out of that. So that was worth it for me. That was fun.
You got 17 sub sandwiches off of that video?
I know. I'm so full. Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on to Gunverse news. James Gunn did confirm a rumor.
Okay.
Booster Gold has been cast. Confirmed. We
What
don't
about
know
Skeets?
who. We don't know who, but Booster Gold has officially been cast.
Very nice.
What are you guys' thoughts? Out of everything we know,
I want to be Skeets. I want to be the voice of Skeets.
better hit him up on Twitter. I don't know. I don't know.
So is
man.
Booster Gold like a hot book now?
Well, it was a hot book when James Gunn did his hey, I'm making a DC Universe video. He said Booster Gold was gonna be part of his DC Universe. In the video, and that book went from $50 to $75, $200 to $300, overnight. Same thing with Tom King's Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow book. Same kind of deal. He's saying. He did say the Booster Gold book was the one that was drawing the inspiration from his movies, before his movies, and the Supergirl one, same thing. He's taking it directly from Tom King's interpretation of Supergirl.
So do you think Ryan Gosling would be Booster Gold before Chris Pratt?
I don't know. I guarantee you, my guess is...
I think Chris Pratt would be better, though.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think Chris Pratt would be better. But... if I was a gambling man, I had to put some money on it, I was going to say it's going to be someone we're not familiar with.
But Ryan Gosling has that Kenergy.
Yes. But I noticed about James Gunn is he hires these veteran actors, for the most part, to play kind of backup characters. Look at Nathan Fillion playing Guy Gardner. You know what I mean? He's the most experienced actor out of all of them. And he's fourth string down from the lead.
Hey, Comics Cap Collectibles. Great to have you stopping by to visit with us. Love your little avatar there with the Cap Funko Pop. That's cool.
I think it's going to be a new, relatively new actor that we're not familiar with.
All right.
That's just my prediction. I was wrong once before.
Just once.
Just once. Ask my wife. But yeah, that's the big news that I got.
Okay, I got one more piece for you. So, Batman's 85th anniversary is already being thought of, and as a matter of fact, it's coming up next month. And the Folio Society are going to do a DC Batman slipcase folio. They picked out 11 stories. Actually, it was picked out by Jeanette Kahn, who used to head up DC Comics, and she wrote the introduction to this volume. And it's going to have 11 stories plus a replica of 1940s Batman #1.
Wow.
So,
very cool.
Yeah. Of course, there'll be some great legendary Neil Adams Batman stories in there and stuff too, from what they've kind of previewed too. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think it's gonna... So these stories are scanned from the original copies in the DC archives, and they're reproduced in a 10x7 format, and exclusively available from the Folio Society, running at $100.
The Folio Society.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I think the last bit of news too is the Dawn of DC logo that they've been using since I think 2022. That's coming to an end, and in this summer will begin the Absolute Power event.
Oh yeah, that's what I want to talk about. I'm kind of excited for that. DC hasn't done a whole lot to get my excitement going in terms of comic book world, but I'm kind of excited for that. Did you read the synopsis for that?
Yeah, it's Amanda Waller is basically trying to put down all superheroes or anybody with powers, I guess. And
yeah, she found a way to steal superpowers. I'm using that word lightly. I don't know what they're going to call it. Essentially, steal superpowers to kill heroes and villains. So
yeah,
that'd be fun. That would be fun. I like it when Amanda Waller just goes on a killing spree. Those are the best stories. Or she likes to call in the movie Hollywood Squares.
Did you guys see that I normally do not watch a trailer, but I actually watched this trailer, that the trailer for Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2 is out?
I haven't even seen the first one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the first movie yet, but I've watched the trailers. Yeah. So
it didn't get very good reviews, right? The first one?
It's been mixed. I think my friend at my LCS said it best. He says, just think of it as an Elseworlds Crisis, and you're fine when you watch it.
Okay.
That's a good way to put it.
So, but the trailers look interesting, that's for sure.
Cool.
That's all I have for news. What about you guys?
That was it. Booster Gold being the big one for me. I'm kind of excited for that. I want to see who it is. I enjoy casting news. Stay tuned for the casting of Skeets for Magic Lasso.
Yeah, I want that to be me.
He can't make that announcement yet. So
no, I can't, because I haven't been offered it yet.
He has to play dumb. He's contractually obligated.
Why do you think I was eyeing up that Action Comics #1? I got Skeets money coming in.
Yeah,
right.
Skeets money. Just get to pay for it in Skeets money.
I'm going to get Action Comics #1, the original art, and the submarine.
I wonder where the original
and then
art
Tim's going to be sad that he doesn't want to be on this show no more.
You're going to have to buy the rights from him.
I will.
You have to buy the rights from the retro review from Tim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tim, the Pokemon collector.
Yep, Tim, the Pokemon collector.
That's kind of the road he's going down. It's like slowly watching a friend just drift further and further away.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's sad.
Isn't he out in the parking lot with his cell phone collecting?
Yeah,
some type of
stuff
too?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Poor guy.
I'm worried he's gonna run into traffic.
Yeah.
He lives in St. Louis. He's a tough cookie. You got to be tough to live in St. Louis. I couldn't.
Leave me alone. I'm going after my Pokemon.
Wearing a flak vest just to go to work. That's got to be hard.
Mm-hmm. If someone wants to bring up the assist, why don't the person who picked tonight's retro review tell us what it is and why they picked it?
Didn't you have a poll that you wanted to start first, Lasso?
What's that?
Didn't you have a poll that you wanted to start?
I did want to make a poll. But before we do, I want to make sure that everyone knows who picked the retro review tonight.
I picked it, and let me tell you why. So I was at my LCS, and I found a pack of this Chain Game War. I had never heard of it. I had never seen it before. And
let me guess, the whole story for $1.
No, it's like first 8 issues for like $1.
Oh, there you go.
I think there's 16 in the whole run. Not sure, but
hey, Tony.
You said to yourself, "This would be good to have my friends read."
But with the cover, because I could only see issue 1, they were all kind of stacked together. I could only see issue 1 without ripping it apart. And I was like, okay, this looks very 90s, and it had the cover is embossed. The chain is embossed. It's like a 90s gimmick cover. So I was like, yeah, I love gimmick covers. Dave Johnson on the cover for issue 1. I love Dave Johnson stuff. This is very early Dave Johnson stuff. And I was like, this looks like it's terrible. I'm gonna buy it. And that's exactly how the story went. Looked awful, so I bought it.
And then why did you decide to put that on the retro review tonight?
Because the show is awful and I love it.
Wow.
Oh my God.
You want to get that poll up now, Lasso?
Yeah, I think the poll is going to go up pretty soon.
No, this is great. This is great.
Is it?
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
I don't think anybody in the chat, very select few, I would say less than 10% of people in the chat, 1, have even heard of it, or 2, even read it. So,
I have never heard of it, and I have never read it until now.
So if you were at a comic show or whatever, and you saw all the issues for $2 or $3, would you get it just based off the cover?
No.
No.
I would say, who the hell's buying this? And then
me, I am.
Yeah,
they got you.
What's option 3? I'm taking the show over. I have issue 11 Batman appearance. Yeah, see, look, there's people out there. That's 1.
Don't even tell me there's a Green Lantern appearance in this series.
Yeah, there's no way a Green Lantern appearance.
We have 4 2s already.
4 2s. Wait, that doesn't count again.
We got 4 2s from a bag of 7s.
The option 4 is we shuffle the host. You know what I mean? And then they pick 4 brand new hosts. We're all 3 out. You know, some other random people come in.
And then Tim will come back. He's like, "Who are you people?"
Yeah, right.
So-
Yeah, here's my show.
Well,
no,
I'll get I can get us started with issue 1 if you don't have anything more to say about this.
I think it's a very 90s gimmick cover, very 90s. Once we get into it, you can tell it's super 90s. I don't want to say noir, but
let me say one thing, okay? YouTube is 90.
YouTube is 90?
Yes.
Okay.
So we start out, chain reaction. We start out, we see a man behind bars with 3 people in front of him that are all masked and no real text about the story, just our credits. So we get into the story. There is a man that's walking down some court steps. His name is Carlo Brunetti. And Marianne Hawley of Channel 11 News is running up to him to interview him. And she says, 2 witnesses have testified the murder of Albert Redding was carried out on your orders, but you walked free. And she goes on to suggest that this has happened more than once. And he's like, well, why wouldn't I walk free? I'm an innocent man. So as this goes on, you get a feeling that we got like a mob boss or a crime family, head of a crime family type situation going on. And she talks about how, that it was suggested that he got to the jury, and that really riles him up. And he's like, it's a damn lie, and someone's going to get their head beat to a pulp for that. When all of a sudden his lawyer / PR man steps in for him while he goes to get in his car and says, the real victim of this case is my client because he keeps getting convicted of stuff that he never does. And he mouths off a little bit more before he gets in his car and leaves the courthouse. He says, Carlo Brunetti has, as we've heard, constantly gets blamed. He's the victim, blah, blah, blah. So we cut into the next page, and this is Carlo Brunetti's estate. And then we see one of these masked men from the first page. He's jumping over the guarded area. He lands. There's someone who's protecting the estate, doesn't see him. He's out smoking a cigarette, and he gets whacked. So on our next page, we see that, anyone that's been out there has been taken care of as the rest of this assailant or this intruder's friends have shown up. They take one of the guys and hang him up on the gate, and they start heading towards the house. They have pistols and rifles, and they can hear from outside the window that the television news is on. And it's the same reporter telling the story that she was trying to film with her interview with Carlo Brunetti. And she's talking about how good is our legal system when the real criminals go free. Is justice true society a commodity reserved for the poor and the weak? And he is fired up about this. He is not happy. He's like, nobody touches me. That's right. I'm untouchable. And he's like, when all this hula dies down, I want that Hawley dame taken care of. And he's like, I want a special number done on her. Put the animal on it. And they're like, yeah, sure, boss. And he, referring to the animal, he says, I hear he's got himself a new chainsaw. They'll be digging her up in 5 states. Outside, Carlo Brunetti, a voice yells. And they're like, what the hell? So he suggests to hit the lights. And he realizes that there's 2 guys out there, but they don't look like cops. And they're like, well, who are they? And what do you think that they want? And they're like, we just want you, Brunetti. The others of you can get out right now and you'll be alive. So Carlo Brunetti says, you 2 go out the back, work your way around. And do you think it could be Scipio, who is a name you're going to hear more in this story? He apparently is like a conflicting crime family head. And they're thinking, well, maybe he's behind sending these goons over here. So the other guys go around back to try to see what's up with these assailants. And these assailants are kind of like, we gave you the option to leave, but you didn't. And they shoot them violently dead. And they bust into the house. And they're like, you don't have to die, just drop it. But they don't drop the gun, so they shoot them too. They're just killing people. And they're saying it's justice, And one of the guys says, "Don't start getting soft on us, you know." And he's like, "You don't make an omelet without breaking a few bad eggs." And then one of these people who busted into Brunetti's house is like, "Who are these guys?" And they're like, "Zip it. Take it easy. We need him alive." But no one said anything about him being healthy. So when Brunetti wakes up, you could tell some time has passed. He is chained. He's not quite sure where he's at. It's dark with just like, looks like some moonlight. His head hurts. And when he kind of gets up and gets a bearing and a sense of where he is, he's in some type of a prison. And it looks to be a little bit underground as well. And he doesn't know what the hell is going on here. So then we cut to the cops who are come to investigate what's gone down with this disturbance at Brunetti's household. They see some of the dead employees of his. They know that Carlo is missing. Police are not exactly sure what's going on. Is this a rival gang, or are they taking him for some type of ritual gangling execution? They're searching for his body. We had the reporter back on, again, the TV, talking about the mob violence on their streets and how Brunetti has been a longtime rival. A prominent businessman, John Scipio, reported to be the overlord of the city's second crime family. And at the same time, we see someone's, talking, "Sammy, dear boy, I just heard about your father. This is terrible. And Sammy, I don't know what I can say to convince you I had nothing to do with this. Me and Carlo, we had our differences." So this is Scipio, and he's talking to Brunetti's son, saying, "We didn't do this. My family did not do this. I'm so sorry. When I find out who did this, they'll have to answer to me as well." And he's secretly happy that Brunetti's kind of been taken care of or is off the grid or whatever. But he's just making the claim, so he's trying to avoid some retaliation. And they're saying to Brunetti's son, well, maybe he is telling the truth. And they're like, who else would do it, though? Put the word on the street. Somebody's got to know something. And the son says, "Get the animal on it. If my dad is still alive, he'll be able to find him." So we cut to another scene of a man named Ernie. And he's kind of like been resting, laying in his chair for a while. And someone's calling him to make sure that he's awake. His hands are a little jittery. And he says they haven't been like that since Vietnam. And he's asked if the kids have gone to school. And they're like, "Hey, Ernie, they're almost home. It's 2 p.m, and you got to get your butt in gear or you're going to miss a job interview." He's like, "Well, I don't really care about being a janitor." And she's like, "You got to do something, Ernie, because my salary isn't going to keep us going forever." And he says, "There's $1,000 here." And he's like, "I did a job last night for Yale." And she's like, "Wait a minute, what have you done?" He's like, "Don't worry, it's nothing illegal." Liar. What the hell have I gotten into is what he's thinking in his head, because he has lied to her. And she says, "I might have known Yale would be involved. I don't like these new friends of yours." And he's like, "Yale's okay, just got more money than sense." But it's right. It's a war out there. The kids, they spend your life worried sick about them growing up in this type of an environment. And when's it going to be my kid they find lying in the gutter? So he feels a sense of vengeance upon himself. And and he feels a little bit crazy for what he's doing, but he's like, hell, we're all crazy. So we cut back to where Brunetti's being held, and finally someone has come in, and he sees that there's someone there. It looks like they have some food for him, a pizza. And he's like, "How long does Scipio intend to keep me here?" And he says, "I don't know what Scipio's game is, but tell him he won't get away with it. There's going to be a war." This guy's like, "Whoa, is that a fact?" He's like, "Don't walk away from me. You come back here, please." And he's like, "I'll make you a rich man if you get me out of here. Why are you doing this to me? And just who the hell are you?" And with a smile, he turns around and he says, "Well, now, I guess you could call me the warden." So we've cut over, and we're looking at one of some of the men that broke into Brunetti's house. And one of them's pretty sick, and it's Strang. And he's not feeling well. Apparently, doing this type of stuff messes with his nerves. You might remember earlier in the story, he was kind of questioning it, and they kind of told him, "Hey, you got to bust some eggs to make some omelets." And they're asking him how he feels, and he's feeling okay. And he's asking them back the warden back. How did it go when you saw Brunetti? And he's like, well, he offered to make me a rich man. And and then there's a reminiscence about years ago, his love died. And it's heavily implied that Brunetti was part of this. His phone rings, he answers it. He's Yale Strang. And they're asking on the phone how Yale is feeling. It's Curtis. He says, well, I'm doing well. He's like, well, good. Don't worry about getting upset over what we did, And they essentially say, fine, I'll pick you up in an hour. Come on, rich boy, we got stuff to do. And I just got to get through this. I never intend to do this again. So there's a birthday party for Gabby. She is the daughter of the rival crime family, the Scipios. And she's having her big birthday party. They got fireworks. They spent a lot of money on this. And the gang here, the chain gang, has broken over the fence again to get inside. As you scroll down again a little bit more, you'll see that they've taken out the security easily. They're in, they've infiltrated it, and they say it's party time. So they have kidnapped this man and given him to the animal. And the animal is saying, Mr. Brunetti's missing. And this character that kidnapped Charlie, they're like, you're going to tell me where he is. They think Charlie knows, but Charlie honestly doesn't know. He's like, I only work for him. And he's like, that could be, but then you could be lying, Charlie. And, you got to appreciate my problem. And you can see he tortures him by cutting his ear off. And he's like, I don't really want to hurt you anymore, Charlie, but, violence isn't in my nature. So then we cut back to Gabby's party that's going on, and we got a fire going on, and they think possibly maybe the fireworks set it off. But as they soon find out, it's the chain gang that's arrived, and they're going to take Scipio in as they're going to capture him and take him in. And so they take out his security detail, and they say, well, we're making us a citizen's arrest. And he doesn't know what's going on. He gets blindfolded as he keeps saying, you can't do this. Gabby walks down to see where her dad is. She gets whacked over the head. She's still alive. And then they got a few more people coming. So the chain gang is able to take them out. There's no problems there at all. They've got Scipio. They got him in the car. They start taking off. Even though there's a few of the henchmen or the security guards around them that are trying to stop them, but they're not able to. They're able to get Scipio out. And where do they take him? The exact prison which Brunetti's being held. And Brunetti knows people are in there. And, it's a little bit underground, the prison portion is. And he says, I don't know what you're up to, but you're not going to get away with doing this to me. Nobody gets away with doing this to me. You tell Scipio he's dead. You tell him that. And they're like, well, why don't you tell him yourself? And they rip the hood off, and he realizes, they both realize that they're both being held at the exact same place. And they're being told, welcome to the House of Corrections. Make yourself comfortable. You're going to be here for a long time. They're like, what, you're running some kind of private jail? What is a Scipio? Is this one of your scams? And he's like, I don't have anything to do with this. And the chain gang go on to say time after time, the law has failed to bring you to justice. And if the law can't do the job, then people have to take justice into their own hands. And they ask, how long are you going to keep us here? And they're like, until you paid for your crimes. Don't go making any plans for your old age. And Brunetti yells out, you're crazy. You hear me? Crazy. You'll never get away with this. And that's how issue 1 ends.
All right.
Hello to my friend Bronze Age Brian.
Love it.
All right, on to Chain Gang number 2. Tony's new favorite series.
All right. I wouldn't go that far, but it's not bad.
All right, so issue 2 starts out with this abandoned car, and they're kind of investigating it, wondering what's up. Meanwhile, the news is still reporting on the disappearance of these 2 mob bosses, and she's talking to her cameraman when these 2 guys walk up on them, and it's the chain gang. And they tell them to come with them and bring their camera. So they blindfold them, and they basically take them back to the House of Corrections, the jail where these two mob bosses are being held. They say it's visiting time. So you can see this. Brunetti is still very upset. He's not taking to captivity very well. Scipio is claiming that he's a respectable businessman, and what gives these people the right. And of course, the reporter, she's very surprised to see the two of them there, and she's like, "Why are you holding them?" And the chain gang responds, "Somebody has to do it. These men and others like them have turned this city into a cesspit, yet time and again, they have escaped punishment for their crimes. If the law can't deal with them, we will. We're taking the scum off the streets and putting it where it belongs, behind bars." She says, "How long do you intend to hold them?" And they say, "How long do they deserve, Miss Hawley? 10 years, 20, the rest of their lives? Why not let the people be the judge? What sentence would the folks at home give them?" And so they're basically putting it up to a vote for the people at home. This feels very much like how DC decided Robin's fate. And so she's back there, kind of a flash forward now. She's talking with her editor, and this is where they're first dubbed the Chain Gang. It's actually the press that calls them the Chain Gang. So, her editor's like, "What are you trying to turn these men into public heroes?" And the reporter, Miss Hawley, she's like, "Well, aren't they?" And so you can already see the conflict going on here. These are kind of like anti-heroes, right? So it's going to be hard convincing the public that this is necessarily a bad thing. So she says to the detective, "You've been trying to nail Brunetti and Scipio for a long time. Admit it. Secretly, you're pleased. Secretly, you're on their side," meaning the side of the chain gang. And yeah, basically they give a warning to all evil men that this is just the first and won't be the last. There's room for more in the House of Corrections. All right, so we go back to the scene with the animal, and you can see he's still got his chainsaw, and he's already taken out several of these guys when he gets a call saying that looks like, have you seen the news? It looks like it's not Scipio after all. And the animal's like, "I was beginning to get that feeling," as these bodies are hanging around him. And he's like, "I'll check out the news report on the news, see what it can dig up on the chain gang." All right, so then back to the news reporting. They start interviewing people on the street, and the reaction is pretty positive for the chain gang. It's high time somebody cleaned up this city. They're just doing what the court should be doing. Those hoodlums always laughing at the law. They're not laughing now. And then you get these two old ladies, and she says, "Yes, we voted this morning. I gave them both 30 years. I gave the foul-mouthed one extra 5. He should have washed his mouth out with soap." And that's where we see that it's actually the media took it upon themselves to give out a phone number to vote. And they're saying like, "Hey, this station in no, sorry, this station doesn't in any way subscribe or condone to the activities of the chain gang. This viewer poll is for information only and will not be used to aid or abet the commission of any crime." Of course, they've done exactly what the chain gang wanted, and now people are voting for this. So back to the House of Corrections, we got some more pizza, and the warden's here with the pizza, and Brunetti is still mouthing off. And the warden's like, "Look, you need to be polite. You need to call me the warden." And he instead he calls him Meathead. And he's like, "Meathead? That doesn't sound like warden to me. Suit yourself. Of course, I'm not going to be able to feed you until you learn how to address me in the proper manner." With that, Scipio says, "Yeah, I'd like to eat, please, warden." And he gets his box of pizza. So we get Brunetti kind of mocking him that he's like, kissing up to the warden, and Scipio's like, well, yeah, at least I'm eating though.
Kind of hard to argue with that logic.
Yep. All right, so then back to the chain gang here. They're trying to decide who they should kidnap next, right? And they've got a list, and they're going through this list, and the one guy wants this guy Yale. Another guy wants somebody named Shavers, and they're saying Shavers is strictly small time. If we go for him now, the cops will start wondering why, and they're going to come up with your name, and nobody's got more reason to hate him than you. So let's just stick to the plan. We're going to go after this guy called 8 Ball. So you can see there's some kind of like personal connection to some of these, and they've got to be careful, otherwise their identities will be, figured out. So instead, they decide to go after this guy 8 Ball, who has already lost an eye, and I don't know if you can see that, but his left eye has been replaced with a little 8 Ball. So, and he's basically a drug runner, and he's got the biggest drug operation in the city. He's got a safe house a couple blocks from the place, so they decide they're going to go over there and bust it up. We flash over to 8 Ball, and he's basically telling his thugs, hey, watch after my car. I love that car like I love my wife. And the guy's like, but you don't got a wife, 8 Ball. And he yells at me, he's like, but it rhymes, man. Don't give me no grief. So basically everything 8 Ball does, he has to rhyme. It's kind of silly. So they come up in their van and they're watching 8 Ball. They see him go into this building, and but they're kind of waiting for their moment, right? You can see they kind of climb over the fence. They're after 8 Ball. Meanwhile, 8 Ball busts into this abandoned house, and he's after his money. This guy didn't pay him, and this guy's like, I can explain, 8 Ball, and 8 Ball's having none of it. He knocks him down, and he's got a claw for a hand too. And Meanwhile, the chain gang is hot wiring a bulldozer, I guess. What do you call those things? An um, 8 Ball is just making work of this guy. He's making him pay for not having, or he's punishing him for not having paid up. And that's when his thugs hear this sound of this excavator here, and the chain gang goes after the pink car that they were sent to look after. It's 8 Ball's car, and they smash it. And with that, a gunfight opens up. Again, they give him one chance to get out of there, but the guys open fire. So he's like, "Oh, you like to play rough?" And they start killing them. 8 Ball from inside looked out, and he sees his car. He's like, "My wheels!" So at that point, then the excavator busts through the building, knocks 8 Ball down, and the chain gang busts in, guns blazing. You can see they're here to take out 8 Ball. Not too much going on here. 8 Ball's trying not to go down without a fight, but he's no match for this excavator. He tries to he ditches his the ladies that he's with, again rapping the whole way. I hate to leave you babes behind, but you know what they say, he who raps and runs away lives to rap another day. No sooner does he make his escape, and one of the chain gang is waiting for him and knocks him out. And they take him out pretty easy. You can see they knock off his claw hand. They take him up in the excavator, and well, that's it. They've got 8 Ball. When they tell them that they've got a nice cell waiting for them, they hear and that's when the cops show up, and they hear the cops. And that's where issue 2 ends, with the cops having shown up just when they were about to take 8-Ball in. So, all right, on to you, Tony.
Yeah. Let me bring this back up here. So, what do you guys think so far?
I mean, it's not bad. It's just
like Suicide
it's
Squad.
a little silly, I guess. I don't know.
It's silly. Let me share my screen here. Where is it? Right.
We've still got 4 2s.
Luckily. Okay, so in this issue is very unique. In some cases, there's not a whole lot of dialogue. So this one's going to go pretty fast. So keep in mind, they just captured 8-Ball. He's, they took him from the excavator to the, I guess, getaway vehicle. The police have arrived.
Just rooting for 8-Ball.
The citizens are actually helping the chain gang by getting in the police's way. In this panel here, let me see if I can blow it up just a little bit. There we go. The young lady's telling the police officer she can't hear, so the cop's telling her to get the heck out of the way. She's like, "Oh, you have to speak up. I'm deaf. Can't hear you. Sorry." So the chain gang throw 8-Ball in the big green van and take off. And the police are right behind them in hot pursuit. And this story is called Weak Link. It's a big, cop chase. Curtis starts, shooting outside the van, and he makes it very clear, I am shooting at the tires. I'm not shooting at the cops. Which thinks, oh, okay, shooting the tires ain't bad, right? No, it's just as bad. Cops are flying through windshields.
I mean, it's not hard to aim at the tires, one-handing an SMG, right?
And leaning up the side of the van.
Yeah, I mean, that's not hard.
I imagine if this city is anything like the city of Philadelphia in filling potholes, every 200 feet he hits one and he's shooting way up in the air. So he hits 2 cop cars and 8 birds the whole way. Yeah, and they finally get to the I guess the spot, and they're switching license plates and pulling off the decal on the side of the van. And they finally get 8-Ball into into the makeshift prison. And 8-Ball is seeing all his crime associates, and things are starting to get really weird. Cut back to oh gosh, I've already forgot this guy's name. But anyway, he's not too happy. All the criminals are getting rounded up. He's losing money, right? And all the criminals are very concerned that they're next. You know what I mean? Who's the chain gang coming after next? We cut back to the scene. They're loading up all the dead bodies. And the detective's like, I need chain gang found. And look, it's Lady Cop.
Not Lady Cop.
It's probably not the Lady Cop. But I saw it, and the first thing I thought was, wait, Lady Cop?
Lady Cop.
Lady Cop. But we're just going to pretend that it is Lady Cop. And that's it. She's out for the rest of the story. You never see her again.
Lady Cop.
She's looking for that girl with the VD yet.
She's looking for the girl with the VD. I don't know why she's over here to murder, but whatever.
Well, she's looking for the girl. Maybe the girl's over here.
Must have been a hell of a VD if they needed an excavator. So they find a little boy who actually recognized one of the chain gangs, and his name is Curtis. So he tells the cops, now they have a lead, so to speak. So this gentleman here, he knows Curtis. He knows Curtis. They had a past encounter. And finally we cut to the docks, and we have the showdown between I can't believe I forgot this guy's name. I don't even remember his name. And parts of the members of Chain Gang are there. And I always thought this was the dumbest thing in movies. So there's a big gunfight ensues. This guy gets shot in the chest, right? So what's he do? Rips off his shirt, revealing body armor. As if saying, you should have shot me in the face.
Yep.
So anyway, he shoots off his whole hand. His entire hand. And what does he do? He shoves his hand inside the chainsaw.
Of course, because he's the animal.
Army of the Darkness style, and they have at it. This big fight ensues. It's very cartoonish fight in my opinion. I don't know how he's decided that this pipe would be a better weapon than his gun versus a dude with a chainsaw, but
Well, and how is he not bleeding out?
I don't know how he's not bleeding out. So they call in. So the criminals call in, some bad guy backup. This assassin wanted $10 million, not for the whole thing, per bad guy. And who is that assassin? It's Deathstroke. He's coming in to deal with the chain gang. And he wanted $10 million per. So, and they paid it. So obviously here he comes.
All right.
So this is our first confirmed.
Deathstroke's coming to save 8-Ball.
Yep,
DC.
Because issue 4 always has to have a guest star.
This is issue. That's true. Issue 3 has the tease. Issue 4 is the guest star.
Yep.
So Deathstroke the Terminator.
Wow,
Okay.
Tony. I had never heard of this series before, but thank you for bringing this to all of us.
Your guys' thoughts. The scoring system 1 to 10. 10 being couldn't have gotten any better.
I mean,
I don't think it could have gotten any worse.
Well, I don't know about that. I do seem to remember Section 8.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Section 8 was a godsend compared to this. I'm going to score this pretty darn low. I'm going to go and do the out of 5. It's going to score maybe a 2.
So that's maybe a 4 out of 10?
4 out of 10, 2 out of 5. I do like Dave Johnson's covers.
Would you buy the remainder issues, Tony, to have a full set?
Yep. I have to now. I bought them. I bought the first 8. So I'm invested, so to speak. I can't back out.
Actually, that actually doesn't upset me because I am working on an AOK for you because I have to send you something of mine for later this summer. And I mean, if I can start hunting these now, I could probably get all of these for your remainder for $1 total.
Probably.
And then, you're going to go all out breaking the bank on Tony's AOK?
Yeah, you just got something you said you wanted, so.
Well, he reached down into his pocket, pulled out some pocket change.
I did.
There's my AOK.
Yep, 4 little quarters.
Hey, I wouldn't be upset. Got a full round of chain game. Only one of the fanboys at that title.
And
I'm going to guess we are the first people on YouTube to have ever reviewed this story.
And the last.
Yes.
First one in the history of the internet, probably, since Bobby gives it a 5.
I'm with Bobby. I'd give it a 5 out of 10. I mean, look, like, what year did it come out? Probably
91, 90, early 92 or 93, something like that.
So, I mean, if you think back at the time it came out, I mean, it kind of matches the time, but did it need to be?
Copyright September of 93, my issue came out.
Okay.
So I was in kindergarten. Just started kindergarten when this came out.
Gosh. The baby. I was getting
not that we want to age
high school.
You were in high school, you said, 93?
Yeah.
You were just leaving school. I was just coming in. September 93. One thing I do want to point out about this, I think this happened in everybody's issue, and I don't think they noticed. In the title page, at the very bottom, there's a phone number.
Do we get to vote?
No, it's not a voting phone number. It's you can call Warner Brothers directly, and it gives a phone number.
Give me your thoughts on the chain gang.
My thoughts on the Chain Gang were this was a bad story, and I apologize to all my friends for putting them through this, but that's okay. I like it. Yeah, go ahead. What would you think, Lasso? What'd you think?
I'll go 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10?
Are you going to be collecting this series?
No plans at all.
If you had the full run in front of you for $1, all issues for $1, you wouldn't do it?
I would say, can I trade these 12 books for just one comic of something else?
But now, Tim has to get these, right? Because Tim's trying to get every book from Crisis onward, right?
Oh, he is?
I thought so.
Oh.
I remember, so he either already owns it or we've given him a new goal.
There you go.
Who's Tim?
Back in what was it, 7 years ago when Tim was on this channel. That Tim. The Pokemon guy.
Oh, Pokemon.
Yeah.
THIM.
Yeah, THIM. Sim.
Well, the H is silent.
I know, but that's how Mike Tyson would say it.
Okay.
Yeah. So there it is. Chain Gang. Pretty middle of the road run.
I can't wait for your next pick, Tony.
I can.
Yeah.
I'll admit that I don't do the most solid picks because I'm curious. Like, I don't want to read all these. I'll just make you guys read the first issue. I'll read the next issue, and we'll be done with it. I mean, the art was pretty good. I like Dave Johnson's art style. So,
what did you prefer, the Harley stories or the Chain Gang?
Chain Gang.
Not me.
Chain Gang by a mile.
Lazo seems disgusted that he had to read this.
I didn't know any of the characters.
Yeah, I don't know any of these characters.
My issue was all first appearances too.
I looked this run and the characters up in my DC Big Bible that I had. Not a mention of anything. Nothing.
I wonder why.
Chain Gang's not in there.
So, did everyone read all 3 issues?
I just read mine.
No. Who, did you just read yours? Or did you read issue 1 as well?
I just read mine.
I just read mine too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mostly because I was 100% sure that this story was god awful. And
so he's like, hey, let's make these guys read it.
You guys Me too. I'll read an issue. And then I get a really good, maybe it is really good. And I'll keep going. But I made the right call.
Well, thank you, Tony.
You're welcome. I aim to please. But I have these issues and they're very 90s like covers. Everything's embossed, you know what I mean? Or like the chain is like that raised.
Oh yeah.
What do you call it?
That wasn't your first sign that this wasn't any good?
I can tell you by looking at it wasn't any good, but I legitimately judged this book by its cover. And I was almost dead on with my prediction. But
do you think the Chain Gang is going to make its way into the Gunverse? Wouldn't
that be some like just crazy unforeseen karma? They get a movie and it does really well.
Right.
And SK sitting there going, I got the full run.
I got the full. I'm like one of 2 people on planet Earth with a complete set.
Of course,
now, Lasso, Warner Brothers... Wonder Woman's in issue 4, right?
No, she is not in issue 4.
Well, apparently Old Wolf said that Batman, John
he did say that.
Paul Valley, makes a few appearances.
Wow. Yeah, there was a reference to Batman in mine. But, hey,
I like the pizza part of my story.
Yeah.
That sounded kind of neat.
Go to jail and get a pizza?
Yeah.
I do like
But I mean, of course they DC puts their phone number on that. No one bought the book, no one's gonna call.
Right.
Yeah, if not fully satisfied with this product. Call us. Very cool.
So book show and channel, because I'm sure we all have Chain Gang related memorabilia that we want to share as part of our book show. Yeah. Who would like to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I gotta grab a book. Give me a second.
Yeah, I actually don't have a book show.
Okay, then I'll go first. Okay.
Go.
So on my channel, I have the back issue of the week YouTube short that comes out every Monday morning, And the one that came out this past week tied into the Madam Web movie that came out. The one that's coming out tomorrow for the YouTube short will be in tribute to Ramona Fradon, who passed away yesterday. I did a comic book editions video on my channel that came out this past week. Kind of the last of my holiday hauls, some stuff I received as gifts and some neat stuff in there. So that's already live on my video. My comic haul coming out this week on Tuesday afternoon, Comic Book Editions 181, is a guest starring Wonder Woman Volume 2. So it's comic books where Wonder Woman was the guest star in. Plus I have some ratio incentives from her own title to share. So that's kind of what's on my channel and what's coming up on my channel. And I grabbed a good handful of books. Ramona Fradon, as we mentioned, passed away yesterday. We just mentioned that again. And I said earlier on that she was heavily associated with the Super Friends comic book. So I pulled some covers, and she did a lot of Super Friends, but I just pulled some covers or some books where not only did she do the interior, but she did the cover art as well. So here's one of those, issue 30. Issue 31 with Black Orchid guest starring. Issue 33. Issue 35, I think that is. Yep, 35. Ramona was also associated with Plastic Man, and Plastic Man guest starred in issue number 36. So that was a natural fit to have her draw that, including the cover. Issue 38.
Nice.
And just one more. She did many more than these two, and I have the full Super Friends set, but issue 39, I just grabbed a handful and just sorted through which ones were Ramona Fradon covers, as well as interiors. So thought that those would be nice to pay tribute to her. 97 years old and still a published comic book coming out next month. So it's pretty cool. Who else is ready now?
Tony got one?
You ready, Tony?
Yep, I'm good. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't realize I was muted. But yeah, on my channel, I got I was just kind of playing around with the algorithm, just seeing what kind of, basically throwing some spaghetti to the digital wall and seeing what sticks. Some success there, some not so successful. But yeah, a lot of shorts to begin with. But for book show, I have the Dark Knight's Metal. This is gosh, I got it right here. Hold on, how they describe it. It's the special edition reprint of Dark Knight's Metal #1. This included a single by Rise Against, which was like a record, some kind of like a, not a traditional like vinyl record, but like a mini record. I'm not even sure how you'd even play it, to be honest with you. Limited to 3,000 copies. I got 2, both signed by Dave Johnson, who did the interior art and all 3 covers for tonight's retro review. So if you see these snagging around that are red, the red cover, definitely grab them up. If you see any that are black or white, maybe pass on them. Those are the second and third print variants of this. But yeah, pretty cool.
Nice.
Thank you.
And Mr.
All right.
Fu.
I didn't bring a book tonight.
Oh, you didn't bring anything at all?
Well, what's going on? Talk about your channel. What's
How about a
happening?
random pull? I see a stack of books behind you. How about a random pull?
What's the top book?
They're Marvel behind me.
Oh yeah, don't do that. Never mind. That's okay.
Next week.
Yeah,
Next week.
don't forget to let us know what's happening on your channel.
Yeah, next week.
Next week. Talk about it next week.
Yeah. Well, this is bringing a close to the greatest DC comic show on YouTube, Fanboys Live the Retro Review. Links for our entire panel are in the description, and I don't want to forget to mention to share your covers with us on Instagram by using the hashtag Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Let's see your Chain Gang War comic books. Tag us in there, because
I am very curious if anyone's going to tag us in a Chain Gang cover.
Hey, Hey, we had somebody here in the chat that knew about it.
Yeah, that
One
some
person.
people in the chat that own some issues.
Yep. We made Joey a new fan of 8-Ball.
Yeah.
You know, we're changing people's lives.
It was his first appearance and also his last appearance in comic book continuity.
Well,
thanks to everyone who joined us in the live chat, and to those watching on the rewind. The fact that you made it this far says something about you, but we appreciate you anyway. We'll see you next week for our next Fanboys Live in the Retro review. On behalf of the entire panel, have a fantastic week. Bye.